Sorry, I said that. I love your brother. Okay. All right. Today's easy. Let's see if you can remember a slope formula. Slope of a line, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Slope is generally represented by the variable m. And then we have some different equations that go along with that. I'm going to suggest that you could get to point slope form by using your slope formula. For example, if I multiply both sides by the denominator, namely x sub 2 minus x sub 1, do you see that I end up with this? Do you see that I get that? That's just your slope formula, right? So some people say that this is tough to remember. Not that difficult to remember. We don't have to put the 2's in there because x and y just stay variables. We don't actually put numbers in for them. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. All right, show of hands if you prefer point slope form. Show of hands if you prefer slope-intercept form. Okay. Interesting, Miss Nelson does not remember ever really using slope-intercept form. In high school, she always used that. Of course, it was like 5 decades ago, but I remember using this most of the time. All right, so this is what I used. But the point is that you can use whichever one you want. Okay. Standard form of a line. Now she's sending me messages. Okay, we'll have to turn off the email here. All right, standard form. So we could go ax plus by. All right, you're done, Colleen. We're done with you. Goodbye, Colleen. We're done with Colleen. Goodbye. Your book actually writes standard form like this. I apologize, but I've never seen this before except for your book. by minus c equals 0. And really the deal is that a and b and c are all integers and a is positive. I don't know why, but that's how they write it. That's how they write it. Horizontal vertical lines. Horizontal line. That's a special kind of equation. Is a horizontal line y equals, or is a horizontal line x equals? All the y values stay the same, right? A horizontal line has a height that is always at, say, 3, or a height that's always at 4, or a height that's always at 5. So therefore, it's a y equals some number. What's the slope of a horizontal line? 0. Then we have vertical lines. So that's at a placement to the left or to the right of the origin. So x equals, say, 5, or x equals 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is an x equals some number. And does anybody know what the slope of a vertical line is? Undefined. And Jones has a theory that it's plus or minus infinity. That's dumb. Has no merit to it. We can disprove it. He refuses to see the light. So, parallel. Parallel lines, what? Have slopes that are what? Parallel lines have slopes that are the same. So for example, y equals 2x minus 4 and y equals 2x plus 11. Those are the same slope. They are parallel lines. So that's parallel. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are what? Close. Opposite reciprocals. Opposite reciprocals. So y equals negative 3x plus 2 and y equals 1/3 x minus 5. Those slopes are, or those lines are perpendicular because their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Any questions? Is this all review? Should be. Okay, let's try some. Oh gosh. There they are. Okay. On your test, you're going to be asked to find the slope between 2 points. So those should be easy points to get on your test. So please get those. So we do y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. 10 minus 2 is 8. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Slope is negative 4. Let's think about this a little bit more, though. Okay. Could I switch around the 10 and the 2 and the 3 and the 5? Yes. Could I switch the 10 and the 2 but not the 3 and the 5? No. So it doesn't matter whether you call this one the first point and this one the second point, or you call this one the first point and this one the second point. Doesn't matter, just as long as you make sure that your x sub 2 is with a y sub 2 and your x sub 1 is with a y sub 1. Otherwise, it'll differ by a factor of negative 1. What's interesting about this, we're talking about slope. All Chrissy has been doing so far in calculus is looking at slope, right? That's basically all we do for the first 6 weeks. How many points do you guys need to find slope? How many points do you need? 2. Chrissy, how many do you need? 1. Ooh. Did that just make your brain explode? Slope with 1 point? Are you crazy? Exactly. How could you possibly conceive that? It does sound ridiculous. Okay, redonkulous. Here we go. Negative 3, 1, negative 3, negative 2. Look at these. Negative 3, 1, and negative 3, negative 2. You tell me. What's interesting about those points? The x values are the same. So this actually has an equation, x equals what? What is x always equal to? Negative 3. That's the equation for the line. If you want to find the slope, well, we'll just do y sub 2, negative 3, minus y sub 1, which is 1, divided by negative 3 minus negative 3. And what happens? Get negative 3 over 0, which is undefined. You may not have 0 in the denominator. And therefore, as you can see, the equation for that line is x equals a negative 3. Vertical line, undefined slope. What do you notice about this one? The y values are the same. So y is always equal to negative 2. That's the equation for the line. If we do y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, we get 0 over 6, which is 0. Slope of a horizontal line, y equals negative 2, is 0. And the last one, negative 1 minus 3 over 2 minus negative 4, we get negative 4 over 6, which reduces to negative 2/3. You do need to reduce it to lowest form. That's the expectation. So if I ask you how to find slope on the test, can you do that? If I ask you to write an equation for the horizontal line or the vertical line through a given point, could you do that? Easy. Let's try slightly more difficult problems, but still very simple. Write an equation for a line that satisfies the following. In calculus, Chrissy's been spending a lot of time writing equations for lines as well. But when Chrissy comes up with the slope, she has to do this. M equals the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And that's how she finds slope. That's extremely more difficult. But that's where you'll head in calculus. We are not going to do that. They already give us the slope, and so that's nice. We don't have to do any of that work. We're going to head through 3, 4. So a point on my line. I always write POL. You're going to get used to that. In order to write an equation for a line, we always have to have a point on the line. That's 3, 4. So now you get to choose whether or not you want to use the point-slope form or the slope-intercept form. I'm going to do a point-slope form one, so you can just see it and use it, okay? Y minus my y1 value, which is 4, equals my slope times x minus my x1 value, 3. So all I have to do is plug it in. From there, I just simplify. Y minus 4 equals negative 3x plus 9. Add the 4, y equals negative 3x plus 13. Yes? You do the second one on your own. You choose whether you want to use the point slope formula or slope intercept form. Okay? You do either or. Go. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus b. Do you know what a lot of people do here? They say they need slope and they need your b value. So what they do is they plug in negative 1. So they write negative 1 because they say that's my y value right there. But that's totally incorrect, right? What's the only way they could write negative 1 there? What would the point have to be that passes through? 0, negative 1. Then I could actually write negative 1 because it would be the y-intercept. But this is not the y-intercept, so I can't do that. You got to solve for b. We don't know what b is, but we're going to solve for it by putting 6 in for the x and by putting negative 1 in for the y. So negative 1 is equal to negative 2/3 times 6 plus b. Or negative 1 is equal to negative 2/3 times 6 is going to be negative 4 plus b. So 3 is equal to b. So the equation for my line is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Is that what you got? Okay. Nice review. All right, now it passes through 2 points. I need 2 things in order to write an equation for a line. What are they? Slope and a point on my line. Which point on the line would you like to use? 2, negative 1. We'll use it. How do I find the slope? Good. I set up my slope formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Negative 7 minus negative 1 is negative 6 divided by 4 minus 2. I'll get a negative 3. So now I go to work. Y equals negative 3x plus b. I don't know what b is. I have to solve for it. So I will take my y value and plug it in here. I'll take my x value and plug it in there. Negative 1 equals negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 plus b. So 5 is equal to b. Equation for my line, y equals negative 3x plus 5. I'm guessing you guys know how to do this. Can we skip the next one? Okay, let's try something slightly more difficult. Passes through 6, 1 is parallel to y equals 3x minus 4. What 2 things do you need in order to write an equation? Slope and point on the line. Do I have the point on the line? 6, 1. How do I find the slope? Y. Okay, so it's the same as this. It's 3. So since it's parallel to that, I can write y equals 3x minus 4 because that's the y-intercept, right? No. The only thing that this problem is, the only way that y equals 3x minus 4 is useful to us is the 3. That's the only thing that's valuable. Forget about this. Forget about that. You know, and I want to make sure that people understand that that y-intercept just doesn't mean anything at all. So actually on one of my tests in Algebra 1 a couple years ago, I wrote y equals 3x plus 4. million, just to, kind of make the point that, you don't need to worry about that. I mean, that's a ridiculous piece. Just focus on that. But, it just threw people off. They wanted to use that 4 million. And, well, unless it's money, I don't want to see it. So, all right, here we go. Y equals 3x plus b. Plug in the 1 for y. Plug in the 6 for the x. Subtract. Equation is y equals 3x minus 17. Easy peasy. Try the next one on your own. Do F and G and we're done. Okay, let's check it out. How'd you find the slope? Solve for y. So you got negative 5y is equal to negative 3x plus 11. Divide by negative 5. So you got y is equal to 3 over 5x minus 11 over 5. So it looks like the slope is equal to 3/5, and the point on the line is equal to negative 3 over 2. Did anybody use the point slope formula? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm going to go through that just so it's familiar to people. But we go y minus my y value, which is 2, equals m, which is 3/5, times x minus plus 3. So I have y minus 2 is equal to 3 over 5x plus 9 over 5. Looks like I have to convert this into a fraction. So we say minus 10 over 5. If I add 10/5 to both sides, I get y is equal to 3 over 5x plus 19 over 5. Should always write slope and any number in there generally as a improper fraction, not a mixed number. Any questions on that? Anybody make a mistake that they want to talk about? I would write as an improper fraction. The only time I would write as a mixed number is if you're making cookies and you're going to bring them to class. That's it. Okay. Baking is when you used mixed numbers. But for the rest of your mathematics career, I don't think you will ever be using a mixed number. That's just truth. So, all right, last one. Perpendicular to 4x equals 2y plus 1. I need m and I need a point on the line. I know the point on the line. It's 4, negative 8. How would you like to go about finding the slope? I'm going to solve 2y is equal to 4x minus 1. Divide by 2. Y equals 2x minus 1/2. So, what is going to be my slope? What's that? Because of that? Because of the opposite reciprocal of 2. So, negative 1/2. Very good. Now I just plug it in. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus b. This is my y. This is my x. Negative 8 equals negative 1/2 times 4 plus b. So negative 8 is negative 2 plus b. Negative 6 is b. Equation. Yeah? Perpendicular will be the opposite reciprocal. That's why we have a negative 1/2 as opposed to positive 2. Any other questions? So, when you see these problems on the study guide and the test, that would be a mistake where you would look at the parallel. That's a sign of working through the problems a little bit too quickly. Remember, take a breath. Make sure that you are reading it appropriately. I want these problems to be gimme problems on the test that everybody would get them correctly. Get them correctly. Get them correct. Sorry. Okay, your assignment. It looks like a lot of problems. Trust me, they go quick. Some of them are finding slope. I am going to hand back your homework tests, and I'm going to hand back some other homework and stuff like that. It looks like a lot, but trust me, it's not that much. Some people had it done first hour already. So you have 18 minutes, and trust me, you're going to get a lot of it done. When some of it says to find the slope, realize those problems are going to take you 30 seconds. So you're going to make a lot of headway here in just a short time. I'm going to pass out the study guide. Monday, what are we doing? Review game. Tuesday, time to work on the study guide. Wednesday, test. Thursday, break. We got a break. So do you realize that would mean you would go home over break with no math homework? All right? So